Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving right into a seriously fascinating, deeply philosophical essay from October 2024 by Xu Fong titled, Why Strive to Become a Celestial Being? And right out of the gate, we're tackling a massive concept, the absolute urgent need to break free from the constraints that are holding us back. Picture a worm, completely wrapped up in its cocoon, right? It feels safe, it's cozy, but it's also trapped. The author kicks off the essay with this really striking metaphor. If that worm never struggles, if it never actually tries to break out of that shell, it doesn't just, stay a worm forever. It literally suffocates. It perishes right there inside its own protective little house. It's the stark, completely undeniable image, and it sets the entire foundation for the profound arguments we're going to explore today. So let's move into part one, escaping your environment. Okay, let's dive into this. The author actually grounds this massive philosophical idea in some very real-world famous examples. Think about Elon Musk leaving South Africa, or Albert Einstein leaving Germany, Sergey Brin leaving the Soviet Union, Enrico Fermi from Italy, Madeleine Albright from Czechoslovakia, and Arnold Schwarzenegger packing up and leaving Austria. The text argues that if these individuals had never left their home countries, their original environments, they would have just been ordinary people. No way would they have embarked on those extraordinary journeys that made their lives shine so bright. Escaping their geographical cocoon was the precise catalyst for their greatness. And this dynamic scales up to a massive societal level. Back in 1980, Cuban President Fidel Castro deliberately released 150,000 prisoners, psychiatric patients, and prostitutes into the Miami boat lift. The intention? To create chaos. But instead, the source notes this influx actually contributed to Miami's prosperity. And for those 150,000 displaced people, well, had they stayed in Cuba, the text suggests their fate likely would have been tragic. Now contrast that with the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. The author neutrally observes the reports that nearly 200,000 Russian soldiers have died. The argument here is that if they weren't bound by their citizenship and national borders, their geographical cocoon, this tragedy just wouldn't have unfolded for them. It's a fascinating look at how geography literally dictates destiny. So the crucial takeaway is beautifully summarized in this quote from the text. If one wishes to live a brilliant life and avoid a tragic existence, one must break free from their cocoon and escape the environment that confines them. That's the core of the author's historical analysis, right there. Escaping your confining environment isn't just a friendly suggestion. According to the text, it is the fundamental prerequisite to avoiding tragedy and actually achieving brilliance. All right, let's pivot to section 2, identifying life's ultimate prisons. The author turns the mirror directly onto us with a very simple yet incredibly heavy question. What is trapping you? We've talked about historical figures and massive geopolitical events, but the source material is fundamentally asking you to examine your own day-to-day life. What is your personal cocoon? To answer that, the author gives us an incredibly broad definition. A prison is defined here as whatever confines you. No matter its form, anything that traps you is a prison. It doesn't have to be iron bars or armed guards. It could be a mindset, an obligation, a societal expectation, or just a dead-end situation. If it confines your human potential in any way, shape, or form, the author classifies it as a prison. Once you recognize your prison, the text argues you really only have 3 choices. 1. Escape the prison. 2. Endure suffering while waiting for it to end. Or 3. Die within the prison walls. The logic here is absolute. It's unavoidable. If you don't actively choose step 1, escaping, you are automatically doomed to endure step 2, and you will eventually face step 3. It's a very binary view of human agency, right? Break free or succumb. Now, you might be wondering, well, can I just make the best of my current situation, find success where I am? But the author argues strongly against that. They insist that any status, fame, wealth, or achievements you attain while imprisoned will eventually dissipate like smoke in the wind. All your earthly efforts are ultimately in vain if you don't truly break free. You can decorate the inside of your cocoon all you want, but you are still suffocating inside it. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is a major plot twist as we enter section 3, becoming a celestial being. Here is where the source material scales things up to an astronomical level. The author asserts that the 2 greatest prisons you must escape are not bad jobs or oppressive countries or even toxic relationships. The 2 greatest prisons are the physical body and the earth itself. Just take a second to let the gravity of that claim land. According to this essay, our physical biology and the very planet we live on are our ultimate final prisons. To really drive this point home, the author completely debunks the illusion of earthly success with this incredible quote. Even if you become an emperor or president, you are still merely a prisoner. The only difference lies in whether you are a high-ranking prisoner, a low-ranking prisoner, a famous prisoner, or an unknown prisoner. This brilliantly illustrates the idea that as long as you are on Earth and in a physical body, all human hierarchies are entirely meaningless. You're just assigning a different rank to an inmate who is locked inside the exact same jail. So, what's the solution? If Earth and the body are both prisons, how do we possibly escape? Well, the text states it plainly. The ultimate pursuit in life should be to strive to become a celestial being. This is the author's metaphysical solution. The only true escape from these fundamental earthly prisons is to transcend them entirely and strive towards celestial status. The author builds a really compelling case for action here. Striving for celestial status might not guarantee success, but crucially, it brings hope. On the flip side, if you do not pursue this escape, the text argues despair is inevitable, because your final destination is simply death. You remain a prisoner. So while striving is difficult and uncertain, the alternative is presented as a guaranteed dead end. Which leaves us to ponder this final, provocative thought based on today's analysis. Is striving to become a celestial being the only true escape from life's cocoon? The author certainly believes so, challenging us to look past our borders, past our wealth, and even past our own physical forms. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it challenged your perspectives and gave you something profound to chew on. Until next time, keep analyzing, keep questioning, and keep striving to break free from whatever holds you back.